We're going to hit record.
We might have it all together. I shouldn't say that because it probably jinxed us. Maybe.
Cool.
No?
Well, then let's go.
I think Mental is dancing.
Oh,
You're not
crap.
sharing
I'm just
your
dancing.
screen.
Yep. All right.
Champ or Lucky Track Dog League.
Damn it.
CCA or
We're gonna leave
NASA,
it.
we won't
We're gonna leave
discriminate.
it.
So
Damn
The
it.
audio version, no one will notice. They'll just see me dancing
Well.
on
Week
YouTube.
tech discussions.
Tips,
It's
tricks,
still better than last
as well
week.
as news and notes.
from the world of
We just
amateur
started.
endurance racing.
And whether it's
True.
on the spot, hella sweet when we're lucky enough. And Chrissy,
Chris,
And I give you just the tip.
For sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to a Turbo Trans Am episode of our podcast. It's 301. The Pontiac 301 Turbo is an engine that Pontiac produced for the 80 and 81 Trans Am with a displacement of 301 cubic inches, which produced an official factory rated 210 horsepower and 345 foot-pounds of torque in 1980.
Wow.
Lies. All lies.
Now, if you're not
Sounds nice.
shoving boost through a quadrajet, try the E1R bingo card. It's guaranteed to be more reliable.
Sure.
The 301
Yep.
was so bad when they made Smokey and the Bandit 2. The people preparing the car had to yank that engine out, drop a small block in it because it would not break the wheels loose enough to do Smokey and the Bandit things.
Bandit things.
Bandit things. All
Bandit
right.
things.
Yeah. Well, so now it's time for what you're working on. I'm not
It
going to ask
is.
Chrissy because I've pretty much spent the last week with her, so I know
That's
what she's
correct.
working on. So I'm going to ask Mental, and I also kind of know what you've been working on. and
What
it's kind
have
of the
you been
entire-
working on?
It's kind of the entire episode of our next show, but tell us more.
I was working on an 82 AMC Eagle with the
Wow.
yes. It started out as the Cordell brothers and then turned into the entire Cordell family. Thank you very much for hosting me. We just got back from Alaska. If you have not seen that, it is all over our Instagram. I'm particularly proud of the I'm on a boat video. There was a lot of collaboration on that one, and there's some great stuff. You should just be actually looking at hashtag Lemons Rally. It was truly, truly epic. And as Chris mentioned, we'll talk about it next week. And for the 4th of July, I
so.
watched people launch cars off a cliff.
Right?
Yeah. But y'all had a great 4th
including
of
one
July.
very special one.
One very, very special one. Yes.
We did have a nice 4th of July. Chrissy, why don't you start us off?
Oh, well, did some boating. We did some laughing at some drunk young adults on a boat. We ate some lobster, and I didn't do much actual, I would say, car work. I did some work. We worked one day from our house in Cape Cod. So yeah. Chris, what were you working on?
My tan, which was
Yeah.
nice, but didn't get burned. Really, I think I did B+ on sunblock. Boat is in the water, which is lovely, but it's a shame it waited until June 30th to put the boat in the water. But hey, we had a busy June. I did some little fixes to the Corvette and the trailer, like putting up some LED lights had fallen down on the trailer. I got some double-sided tape and stuck those back up. The Corvette's seat belt and the driver's side has been jammed for months. Not like I've driven it much, but anyway, unjammed that. Corvette also had a mouse in it over the winter, a still live mouse actually, back in the car. So,
Like
Which-
from the garage or from your storage area? Because
from
There
the
was
storage garage.
there were
garage.
many mice in it before, which was the source of a lot of your work.
Right, which they were all very, very, very dead at that point. So, no, this is a new mouse got into it at the storage garage, which we've never had a mouse in anything there. But I only noticed because when I started driving away from the storage garage, I saw a gray thing move on the passenger floorboard. Initially, I thought it was like a piece of foam out of the HVAC system, that happens on these 80s cars. When I saw it again on a different day and didn't see the foam immediately under the seat, I said, that might be a mouse. So I got some mouse bait stuff that they're supposed to eat and then run away and die somewhere else. That stuff, right? And so I put it in the car before we went to the Cape. Came back. It has been half eaten, and as of a week in the car sitting in the sun, it does not smell bad. So I'm pretty confident that it worked effectively and that the mouse ate the stuff and left the car, and we're okay. So
And you're
good.
you're lovely, but complaining a lot cat, really not equipped to deal with it if it moved into the house.
Yeah. Well, no, she couldn't even hear it. She'd just probably
She can
chase
smell
after
it.
and
She can
not
smell
do
it,
much.
yeah.
Oh,
She
no,
can
definitely
smell. Oh,
it.
she's a good
goodness.
smeller too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I think he probably wandered off and died somewhere out, which is great. Just what it should do. Anyway, yeah, all that's just a bunch of random stuff and trying to figure out what to do now. Oh, also, I'm working on the tune for the Mazda. Getting this tune has been such a hassle. Like, you have to scan the car and then get a code, and from them, which takes a day or two, and then scan the car again with a different thing once you have that code, and then repeat that like 3 times. And now finally, like, I pulled the whole ROM off the ECU, and then I need like a screenshot of some other random thing that was there that I didn't notice the first time. So it takes another half hour. So finally, I got that all together and sent it in. So hopefully now they can actually give me a tune that I can then do something with. Because until now, it's just been getting things set up for way too long. This has
It
not been
sounds
an
like
easy
how I get
process.
access to half the programs and websites I use at work. You got to scan this thing, but then you got to scan it again. I didn't go through it one time. Let us send a message to your cell phone that you can't have at work. So you have to run outside, check a code that expires in 30 seconds.
That's so
Yeah.
annoying.
The security guards know when we're all doing it because we all like go out to our phones like 9 times.
Yeah. I think it's annoying when you have to do it and I'm sitting at my desk, but I'm still looking at all of my computers and 2 phones. And now I've never thought about the times when you can't have your phone. That's kind of sad and funny.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Oh, well.
it's Susan, no sign.
So grumpy locals are sabotaging Cruise and Waymo robotaxis with traffic cones. Robert Stump at the Drive brings us this story. So San Francisco has been a hotbed for robotaxis in the U.S., and it's not all that unsurprising that one of the nation's top tech targets became the go-to testing grounds for these autonomous cars. Over time, however, it's proven to be a bit difficult for locals to cope with the unpredictable nature of these fleets. So now, some have chosen an orthodox method to rebel against the driverless hunks of metal. A group by the name of Safe Street Rebel is fed up with what they perceive to be driverless nuisances. Members have verbally protested against the various services for operating San Francisco, but they've now moved on and gotten a bit creative in the way they protest by disabling the vehicles from driving using traffic cones. The quote, they said, "All you need is a cone and an empty autonomous vehicle," writes a group on Twitter. "Gently place the cone on the hood. You just created a unicorn and temporary traffic calming." So they just put a
Wow.
big ass cone gently on the hood, and the car drives a bit and then doesn't know what to do.
Oh, I'm sure
Wait,
there's going to
the
be
cone-
an override
The cone's still
soon.
there. The cone's still there. Wait, wow, how does it go?
Right, exactly.
Damn it.
But it's not causing any damage. It's just
That actually, when you started this article, I'm like, oh God, this is going to get stupid. But no, that's that is a lovely, non-destructive, and the fact that they focus on empty ones, which,
Yep.
because if I'm in the thing, I'm going to get out and knock the cone off the hood. Actually, I'm going to keep
Right.
it because I think it would be funny, but yeah, that's funny. I like it.
There's a bunch of them. I was looking through the pictures. It's funny. There's a bunch of them. There's some of them sitting in a stoplight. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess maybe they might be going to their next destination, but it's not all like parked. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
good one.
goodness.
Now, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that we are old school challenge people. I think Chris still holds the record for the fastest drag racing reaction. It was perfect.
Well,
it was
at-
0.0.
No, 003, I think it was.
Yes.
Someone's probably beat it by now, but
All right.
I'm sure.
oh
So
well.
You're very kind.
Yes. And by challenge, of course, would mean the Grassroots Motorsports Challenge. It is a capped $2,000 event where you have to build a car to focus on drag racing, autocross, and then it's judged on build quality and inventiveness. And there's been some amazing stuff come out of there. One of your more prolific and common participants is Pat Cahrety, aka Angry Corvair. And this year he arrived with another competitive Corvair, the Manzora. It's a mix between a 94 Corvette and a 65 Corvair, and it's a project he started in 2018. And a GRM reader asked him about his 2000 challenge experience, basically what to expect when you're expecting, to quote the article, and Pat shared the experience with GRM, F-bombs and all. It is really worth a read. It's a solid piece of good real world advice from someone who's done it, and they've done it more than once and they've done it well. And one piece that stands out, and I get all of you who are listening will probably nod your head, and certainly my co-hosts will nod their head, is plan for it to take up all of the time. The link to that is in our show notes. And actually, we should reach out, see if Angry P wants to come on the show.
He's a good dude.
He is. He's a great guy. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, everybody wants to go to what, Gainesville, Florida? Where is it? It's
In
in
the
the
summer?
middle of middle of nowhere,
No,
Florida.
that's right. They moved it to October. Yes.
Oh, did they?
Well,
Okay.
middle of nowhere, Florida, or I think
No, it was
40,
just
40
like-
minutes from Florida Man Donnie's house.
It was
Oh,
just
is
a couple weeks ago or a couple of months ago. Like it was not in October. They keep moving it around.
Oh,
This
okay.
is, this
I'm
is
sorry.
fairly recent.
We went
That's
a long
right.
time. We went a long time ago, so I shouldn't.
We
shouldn't
did.
have
I
been
think
talked.
my last one was 2007. And I know initially they were trying to keep it away from the summer because it's so blazingly hot. And then they unintentionally moved it into hurricane season. So now
Yeah,
they're
they do in the springtime now. Yeah, I've
Okay.
been in 02, 06, and 10.
Is it 10? 10. Yeah, I was thinking it was 12, but 10. 10 sounds good. And then we were like, this is not fun anymore. Yes, it was a Warburg year. That's right. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about wonderful, talented trailblazing women. One of them being Sabre Cook, who has another chance at breaking boundaries. One of our actual favorite people in the world, Erin Cole, who I thought stopped writing for Drive, but I don't really care, has an extensive article at the Drive telling all about the lone female racing driver in the 2023 Porsche Carrera Cup and the first female driver in the 37 Kelly Moss Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars team history. And so she is getting another chance to be a professional racer, the thing that she knows that she was born to do, another chance to prove herself in a space that's far too many still question why it matters if there aren't any women on the grid, another chance to be a promising career buffeted by financial challenges, a global pandemic, and particularly a devastating crash. Erin gives us a little bit of history that I didn't know. So now, midway through her rookie Carrera Cup season at the Kelly Moss, the winningest Porsche racing team in history by podium count, Sabre is settling nicely. She finished the most podiums in 6 out of 8 rounds so far, including a 6th place statement in Miami the last month when the series was served as a popular race for Formula One Grand Prix. Though now she's on a new stage, she has long been used to the pressure. She started driving at 8, competitive around 10. She was a champion by 13, on national karting circuit by 15, and competing on international tracks by 15. Her rapid climb is a testament to her concentration and unwavering focus on doing as much as she can and as quickly as she's able. So I'm not going to read the whole article. It's very long, but I learned so much about this fantastic driver and role model. I encourage you to read it, and then I want you to send it to an up-and-coming woman racing driver that you know. Mic drop.
Nice. I feel like, Aaron was such a prolific writer over there. They probably have like a few months of his stuff as he's moved on to greener pastures.
You're probably right. But it was very long and just so much full of information. I could have copied the whole thing. So just
Aaron's
really interesting.
Stuff is always good. Absolutely.
Yes.
So do you live near a swamp?
Donnie.
No. Do you have a death wish?
Not currently.
Donnie.
Okay. If either of those two things both apply to you, actually, they don't have to both apply, but either one, maybe. Hey, we've got just a thing for you on Racing Junk. We found a twin supercharged LS powered airboat. Now, from the ad, new 2020 custom build. And when Mental shares a screen, I lose my notes. Got it.
Oh, sorry.
No. I escaped and we're fine. Custom twin supercharged LS1, no expense spared. Show quality, polished everything, and even chrome starter, alternator, polished oil pan, twin supercharged kit polished, Pro Systems 1500 carb, sand rail, custom headers, tons of new parts. Set at 7 to 8 pounds boosts, making around 775 horsepower. So realistically, you've got basically a big John boat with a bomb strapped to the back, making a massive propeller spin in a dinky cage right in front of you. And
there's
then
no
you
guardrails.
You and your 3 idiot friends sit on top of this in what's basically leather lawnmower, like riding lawnmower seats with no restraints.
No,
little butt buckets.
it doesn't
And
have any
you
seatbelts.
go try to go die. So
It doesn't
at
look
least
like it has seatbelts.
no, I think because you're likely to flip it over or do something terrible, and then that way you're not stuck
Oh,
underneath with water
right,
while
right,
you're
right.
doing
So
that.
if you
it's
are
better to be thrown clear.
This is something you
Yeah.
want to be thrown clear of. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love
Um,
a handle though, truth. Like I'd like
Yep.
to be able to just kind of like put my hands on
No,
something.
no handles. You just get this little John boat with a little extra bit on the bow and these
Wow.
4 little seats, and that's what you get, and you're gonna die.
This
But
is
hey,
truly
But
it's
but what a way to go. This is,
Yeah.
it is
take
it is
a picture.
It's a suicide machine, but it is a beautifully crafted suicide machine.
And it's
It
like it's down
is.
to $62,000 per the actually ad copy.
Oh,
So
good.
it's a expensive and terrible way to kill yourself, but hey, it's stylish.
It's very
I
shiny.
love that the mufflers dump into the actual fan because it's a an airboat.
Yep.
The actual they dump into the fan, so you get like that cool, when we were kids and you would speak into the fan to get the robot voice. I want to hear what this thing sounds like now. That is fantastic.
Oh,
What a great piece of joy scrolling this is.
I can't believe this.
And if you want to joy scroll through Racing Junk and do it less expensively and get it without ads, code POD23, pro membership, half price. Everyone loves to save.
Wow.
Yes.
Good find. This is a good one. I like this
It
one.
really is. It's marvelous.
All right. Before we move on, or it's part of Racing Junk because we will be pimping the heck out of Racing Junk. Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Get it on YouTube. We talk about it every week. There's still time. We were still a couple weeks away, but they need 1,000 subscribers so they can do with all the content that they need this summer. We'll be there. We'll be pimping Racing Junk. We'll be in a tent with them. We'll have their shirts on because we really like them. So make sure that you go to YouTube Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. That's what I was trying to say on YouTube. Do it now.
Yep.
Upcoming races.
We don't have any.
Nope,
But
we don't.
over the 4th of July weekend, Champ Car
What?
had their event down at Sebring, and our friends, Fat Crack and their Honda Accord, on testing, munched their engine,
Oh.
made a 5-hour round trip, got the old reliable engine, basically the hero engine. Every Honda owner has a hero engine, dropped it in there, still ended up starting late, and battled their way from dead last to second in class,
Wow.
losing to the Betty White Volkswagen.
Wow.
Good for them. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good
Yes.
for them.
Great way to battle back. That's tough.
Battle
Yeah,
excellent.
back.
All right.
Okay. Listener feedback time. Oh, it's me. Okay, so this is not all recent, but we're gonna jump around a little bit. On Facebook, our buddies with Team Lowball called out Chris. A hashtag triggered. Chris needs to explain himself. Over 300 episodes, Chris has taken dig at AMC every chance he had, but said the Eagle was cool. It's an AMC Hornet Spirit that had some drunk guy at AMC that said, "Hey, we've got these spare Jeep transfer cases. Watch this." Signed, delusional AMC fanboy.
I will respond. I only take a dig at AMC because they're bad cars. I never said they weren't cool. And an Eagle is the ultimate expression of AMC's ethos of what do we got lying around and what can we get cheap from the other suppliers? And the way it all worked together is greater than the sum of its parts. I never ever said the Eagle was a good car. I said it was cool.
To its credit, this thing sat in a field for a year. Dominic Cordell provided me with a car. He had gotten it from a guy who said, I can't get it to drive because the vacuum operated transfer case had long ago quit, and AMC defaults to 4-wheel drive if it has no input. In fact, you have to get under it and turn it to 2-wheel drive. We ended up leaving it in 4-wheel drive because it didn't want to go. And I posted it in our Insta story, and I'll be posting a video of this. We put a new battery in it, 2 squirts of starting fluid. It started and settled into an idle. Yeah. And we'll talk about the whole adventure, but darn. And We got so many compliments. Julian was making a video and two guys rolled up in a flatbed Chevy and went, see, fuck yeah. And we all just busted up laughing because how could you? We got pulled over and the cop kept wanting to talk about the car.
Nice.
You're like, I gotta go. I have places actually to be right now.
Yes. Continuing though, our feedback on Facebook Messenger, Adam from Mofo Co has also had issues with the moths at HPR. We talked about the moth flying up Kreger's kilt and just cracking us all up. Quote, every single one of the last 3 June races, we accumulate scores of them in our truck and our trailer. And on the long haul home, we spend the entire time flicking them out the window while driving. I'd be surprised if there still wasn't one in my trailer. I opened my gear bag a week after getting home and one of the little bastards crawled out.
Oh no.
Totally not surprised.
No.
And on YouTube, Tim Burr said, well done, Mental. When you got ghosted and just kept rolling with it, amazing. I was dying. Oh, and by the way, sorry for the glitter everywhere and emptying the hot tub and making a mess of the potluck with the dodgeball fight. And have a just blanket apology then. Hashtag sorry for party racing.
Pretty much it's okay. And it's probably fine said. That was the greatest Gigablast of all time. Perfect timing. Someone stole your catalytic converter, but their Wi-Fi router stole the show. So sorry about that.
I'm known for Gigablasting.
It's true.
Chris takes one pass at it and Gigablasts me by about 1.5 seconds. Just that much better, like every single since we've been friends.
Are they talking about the one that we just like left the show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty big Gigablast. Like
it was. The entire internet was down locally, and that was it. So,
yeah.
hey,
except we like hotspot from your phone. That's how we needed to do it. It was awful. So
hey, I'm all about finding solutions. That's what we needed to do.
And when we're running a show and we've refused to edit and we refuse to stop, don't stop, can't stop, won't stop. That's what we have to do. So there.
Never stop, never stopping.
Apparently.
You know who never also can't stop, won't stop?
Can't stop, won't stop. That is right.
It's Chrissy's mom.
It's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Totally.
Hi, Carol. And
oh, yes. And everyone, your sister got a new car recently. Or no, she got rid of a car. She got rid of, she got rid of the sister.
I don't know much about it. We'll say that maybe when I see it and get to know more, then we'll know more.
You will, because Chris will have to do all the preventative maintenance on it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get there.
Nope. I'm tired of being the fleet manager. Right.
You still are.
You know what's really fun?
What?
Travel. You know what else is really fun? Formula One.
What?
You know what else is really fun? Both at the same time.
Ooh.
And you know who went to what is arguably the coolest, if not best, venue to go to for Formula One? Spentel.
It was.
You went to Monaco.
I did.
We're all jelly. We all want to hear about it. So we're going to talk to him about what'd you do? How was it? Like we all have so many questions that we haven't really talked about it because we didn't want to burn pod. So
at every race, everybody's like, you got to tell me all about Monaco, but I got to go fix my car or I got to go do this thing, So it felt like a logical answer.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Like, let's start from the beginning. You had to get there. Las Vegas isn't exactly near Monaco. It's not a short trip.
No.
So tell us about how'd you get there from the Western US? I mean, we're talking planes, trains, automobiles, rickshaws, boats.
Actually, all of that. We obviously we're going to fly, and there's plenty of international flights out of Las Vegas, but there wasn't one straight to France. So we flew from here. The day prior, Delta said, "Oh, by the way, your plane's going to stop now in Salt Lake City because there weren't enough people on it in Las Vegas. We need to make money, and then we're going to take you to New York." So we were very happy that we had chosen not to check any luggage, and we had packed everything that would be in a carry-on. So we flew from here to Salt Lake to New York with basically 45 minutes
to
catch our international flight, which luckily was very, very close by. So it wasn't nearly the panic that we thought it would be, but we were worried that we wouldn't make it. And then from JFK on to Nice, France, which is the nearest location to Monaco. Monaco is only 2.2 miles. We talked about this. I'm actually going to do right here and put a link to the Monaco preview show that we did. And we got there about 5 hours before my brother, who made this whole trip happen, and his entourage arrived. And Vicky, who also appreciates travel, had already done some research about where we could go in Nice. So we immediately hopped on their little inner city train, and she knew exactly what stop to go to. And it deposited us into their little kind of tourist district. We wandered down and we saw the beach, and then we found a lovely cafe and had a early lunch, late breakfast, couple of beers. There's a type or a style of beer that they drink in that area called a Monaco. And it is a draft beer with grenadine.
Yeah.
I had to try it, and it wasn't as bad as you think it would be. I had the one.
That was enough.
Tells you what you need to know.
That was enough.
Oh.
If you love grenadine, it's fantastic. I just don't like my beer that sweet.
No, most people don't. Okay, well, you tried it. That's good.
Yeah. And then we made our way back to the airport. Like most cities in Europe, Nice is very easy to get around without a car. A lot of scooters running around there, a lot of motorcycles. We met everyone at the airport, and we hopped in a pair of the Mercedes, the not the full up Sprinters, but the
Metris,
the Metris, pair of Metris driven by what I am absolutely certain is a Russian military veteran, because he was little shorter than me, zero body fat, in an immaculately tailored shirt, jacket, sunglasses. But as we drove, he had his sleeves rolled up and I could see some ink, and he just had this entire I've killed people vibe. But that was the industry that he's in now, as he does transportation type stuff. And I noticed also that all of the instructions in the van and his phone were all Russian. They were in Russian. So we made the drive down the coast from Nice into Monaco. Well, technically Bessolet, which is the small French town on top of Monaco, where our Airbnb was. It was a gorgeous drive. You have to go through a few tunnels, and then you descend into the cove that contains Monaco and Bessolet, France. Yeah, just wonderful, fantastic place to be.
Okay.
Cool.
So how long did that take you?
The flight, all told, from Las Vegas to there with the layovers and everything, I want to say was right about all told 14 hours.
Okay. Because you're
And
on multiple time zones too, so that's
Oh yeah,
difficult.
we basically lost an entire day. We landed there
Going
the day
going
after.
east is the wasted day.
Yeah.
Our day started at 5 a.m. Las Vegas time, and we landed the next day at 7:30 a.m. their time. As my brother is accustomed to traveling in a little bit higher of a lap of luxury, they had arranged also for an expedite service to get us through customs and through passport control.
Nice.
So a lovely
That's fun.
5'11" woman before the heels met us at the gate, walked us right past customs, who just waved at us and said, do you have luggage to claim? No. Oh, well, enjoy your trip. And they even had a lounge set aside for their high-end customers. I have no idea what that cost. But I can absolutely tell you it was
worth it.
Yes. Absolutely worth
yes.
every penny. So it's so pleasant. And now my brother and his entourage, they were actually traveling another 2 weeks after Monaco. So they had bags for days.
Wow.
And also totally worth it for them, because they just breezed through all of that stuff and met us outside. We were waiting on our transportation.
Wow. Okay. Then by the time you get there, you've got to be tired. Is that so? I'm sorry. Which day was this when you're there for the first day. Did you just get there for Friday? You were there for Thursday, weren't you? For
Yes.
pre-parties, or was it Friday? I'm sorry, I
Nice,
lost track
we
of day.
arrived. Yeah, we arrived in Nice Wednesday morning, which is
Got
during the June when we couldn't record half the stuff that was going on there. So
Right.
yes. And let's see, I should have better prepared for this, but I got held up at work. So I am actually going to take some pictures of where we were and share those when we arrived in Nice, and then our transportation there. And so because I think that's your next question. But yeah, like as you guys mentioned, we lost a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Next, we're talking about. Well, okay, you're there. Cool.
Mhm.
Where you're staying? You mentioned an Airbnb, but yet I remember the balcony view you guys had right
Yes.
over the
Tell
track.
us the
So,
difference between these.
yeah, tell us what's going on.
So mentioning, Monaco is a very, very, very tiny place. And on top of Monaco is France. So our Airbnb was technically in France. But it is right up on the cliff where you would see. And we looked, and that was the picture I believe I posted in our Slack channel, where we looked down into the town of Monaco, or the Principality of Monaco.
And you were like right on the straight between 1 and 2, right?
Oh, no, that was while we were watching the race. Those were accommodations. We were sleeping up the road.
Got it.
A
Got
little
it.
bit.
Okay.
One of the principal exports of Monaco is stairs. The entire country is on stairs. So this is my wife and I there in Nice. So that's us on the coast. That's the resort town behind us. And then there is, this is my brother and his wife, Gina, as we are driving in the Metris. We had to send that one to mom because mom wanted to know how we were doing. We're driving in the Metris on our way to Monaco. And then I had one more picture while we were sitting on the beach. If you guys remember, and we're still trying to threaten to do this later, go to the race at Le Mans. And while there, I've been wanting to pick up something stupid in French. This thing drove by right there on the beach.
And it's Mahari.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes. I knew it was a
Wow.
variation of the 2CV. And all this thing is basically, it's a flat bottom 2CV with no roof, no doors. It's basically a 2-cylinder Jeep. And it was
It's like a fiberglass tub stuck on a 2CV chassis, basically.
that. And it just looks so damn cool. And yeah, so we wanted one of those. Now I'm going to try and do this again.
What are you trying?
I am
Trying to
sending
find
pictures
pictures.
of the Airbnb, because we'd moved on to accommodations. And I know this is terrible podcasting because I'm
It
narrating
is
what
a
I'm
little,
doing.
yes.
I know. I
Because
hate
when you're
there.
looking at other stuff, this is how you talk.
Exactly.
Great. So now, well, I'll ask this. So you took the car ride from Nice to Monaco. About how long did that take? Because I assumed that, well, I guess those of us of mere normal means would take the train because it goes right through the town, right along the coast.
Well,
But
and
when
we'll
you're
get
a
to
high
it
roller,
later.
you
Yeah.
you take the private security van.
Yes, with the Russian military contractor.
Yes.
On the way back, Vicky, myself, and another, oddly enough, named Chris. He is a Southwest Airlines pilot. His call sign is Captain Hook because he's an airline captain. His last name's Hook. Great guy. He also had to be back, and our transportation canceled on us. So
Oh,
after a
that's
few
nice.
attempts of trying to get an Uber, which is Ubers are illegal in Monaco. They can drop
Oh.
you off, but they cannot come get you. So they don't want to come all the way out to Besoleil either, especially
Nope.
after the
Mhm.
race. They're like, we're
Yeah,
back in Nice. We're not coming out there. For
We've
this
done
nonsense.
that. We've been
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that salmon race. So you're like, really don't want to do that.
No. So we had gone through the train station a dozen times to get to the racetrack. So we took the train. It was €5. It was, and we're like, we should have just done this on the way here. It's gorgeous. So if you go to Europe, for God's sakes, take the train. It's fantastic. Let's see if I can get this to work. I'm going to share the screen.
Or you,
Go
At
ahead.
the
Ask the
Gal di
question.
Monaco.
nothing. I was going to suggest that you could do some pictures at the end for people that are not watching on YouTube, because this is not great podcasting. So
It's not great podcasting. There's the picture of the infamous little Corey, as I call it, water bottle, which now resides in Alaska. That is looking from the balcony down into Monaco. There's the pictures of me doing it. That is me zooming in on the race course being constructed along the harbor.
kind of crazy.
You can,
Mhm.
yeah, you can see all the Ferrari teams and the
And
expansive
the cranes and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
the cranes. This is more of a out view, so you can see the ocean. And a thing that they do in this area, especially in the France, is your lawn is on your roof. I
Okay.
don't know what that's about, but everybody had
Well,
it.
there's probably not much on the room on the ground, because everything is like
Yeah.
literally on top of each other. So
They have
I
some
guess if
cooling
you,
properties having their temperature moderation. Of
That's
having
true.
oh,
the,
you're
the
not.
earth
Yeah,
and
that's a
water
great
there.
idea. Yeah.
Cool.
And
All right.
there's little Corey again looking down into the woods, and that was like some of the walking that we had to do through that. So yes,
Great.
and they were very European, nice, efficient, lots of multiple use appliances and that kind of thing, but just beautiful.
Great. So it was
pleasant little
so was
area.
it a 5-minute walk from there down to the
So
track
it was-
essentially? It's very
When
hills.
on
It's a
the
lot of
days
hills,
that we
stairs.
on the days that we walked, it was probably, and it took us a few days to figure out the path, because you start getting between buildings, your GPS just goes right to garbage. And so we would get lost as we would walk down. But once we figured out the patterns, where we're going and how to get there, it was a 45-minute walk. And walking downstairs for a guy that just had heel surgery a few months prior is actually worse than walking upstairs.
Oh yeah, there's
mm.
that.
So there was a lot of just, okay, we got to stop here. Otherwise I am straight up going to fall on my butt and tumble down these stairs, and I won't stop till I get to the ocean.
Which is like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The admittedly funny part though was, as you were walking down, you could totally tell when you left France and entered into Monaco. As you're going through France, it's very narrow, kind of winding, a lot of patchwork. The stairs are different heights and different lengths, and they've just slapped concrete on there. And you would cross one street and be in Monaco, where everything was tiled and perfect and lined up and spotless. And then within a block, there would be elevators and escalators that if you didn't want to go down all of those. So it was hilarious to see that.
Okay, so you're here Thursday. You have Thursday. Is there there's a Thursday night party, right?
Yes. So Thursday, the practice starts, very open practice. My brother and his family, they were not interested. They actually took a tour of a small town in Italy with some historic churches. Vicky and I absolutely went and camped out in the stand. So if you remember, we went through the multiple corners. We were, for the practice day, we were right on the main drag in the harbor, swimming pool, as it is called. So we did that, and it rained that day. So we naturally had we needed an umbrella. I wanted one that worked, and it was excessively complicated. So we bought a Mercedes AMG umbrella.
You better
we sat
use that
there.
umbrella all the freaking time.
We have actually used it a couple times since then. It's
Okay, good.
I think one of the feedbacks when we posted the umbrella picture on Instagram was, wow, there are 7 servos that require that to get that umbrella to operate properly, and they're all very expensive to replace. And he's not wrong.
About right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here is a okay. So this picture is from our practice day under the umbrella. So we were right there along the harbor, and that is coming out of turn 12 to Bach, as it is known. And they would immediately then.
Yeah, you were right across the street from, you're at the gate, then there's the track, and then there's yachts, basically.
Exactly. And then it would turn, and they would go into turn 13 and 14. The S is right there. When one of the Carrera Cup cars wadded up, it they left it there until they could clear the track on the little pull out right there. And Monaco, even when it's not racing season, they 100% embrace the history of the race. So there is a picture of Louis Chagrin, the first ever local winner, but it is buried under the stands that they set up along that main street.
That looks like a statue, not a picture.
I'm sorry, statue.
Clarifying that point.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a picture of the statue, but you can see how they had to build the scaffolding around it.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, and it was fantastic. The F1 did not practice on Thursday. The F3, the F2, and the Porsche Cup did. One of my favorite jokes. And if you've been to a Formula One race, and we'll find out when I ask you guys about your experience. Now, the Porsche GT3 Super Cup, as it's known, it's the support series for Formula One. And did you guys have it in Montreal? No. Okay. Cause it's not coming here to Las Vegas either, but, that lovely, racer that Aaron wrote about, she was in the one in Miami. And in 2013, I went to the race in Abu Dhabi. I've talked about that in the Porsche Carrera Cup. The GT3 Carrera Cup was the support series for that. And there's a lot of very good up and coming, including Rossi, not the motorcycle racer, but the current IndyCar driver. He was there doing a really great job with the Carrera Cup. So it's a great place to see a lot of up and coming talent. But you look at the tail end of that race, and I'm watching this race, and I'm watching some of these guys through the corners, and I'm like, I'm faster than that. I'm a better driver than that. And the other half of my brain is going, that's your ego. That is 100% your ego. These are all professionals. They are at the absolute peak of their profession. And then one of them got stopped in the middle of a corner because they were lost and proceeded to pull away. And even my ego check brain went, yeah, you're totally better. And here we are 10 years later, and I'm watching the Carrera Cup, and I'm watching these guys come through some of these corners. I'm faster than some of these people. And my ego brain is going, no, you're not. These are race drivers at the absolute peak. No, they wrote a really, really, really large check. And sure as snot, one of them bashes into the wall, wads up one of these priceless GT3s. And each announcement that is made on the track is made first in French, then Italian, then English. And when the French guy started talking, it's gentleman driver. Who's your and I'm like, yes. Even the announcer knows.
I can't believe they called him that. What?
Oh, and like all the other drivers were annoyed because this person just wadded up the car and reduce all of their practice time out there. So go see there's a ton of talent in that series, but I would say right about halfway down, all the folks that are racing that are about my age. Nope. They are Spanx. Those are checkbook racers, and they just have a great, big, huge checkbook. And I'm not mocking them for doing it, because if I had that kind of money, you better believe I'd be wadding up a GT3 on the walls at Monaco. But
you're not that lucky.
I'm not that lucky. I'm not that evil either, I think. But I could grab the top 20 finishers at a Lemons race, and they would all be better. I just fact.
Okay.
So I hope Sabre absolutely crushes it and gets her IMSA ride out of it. Some of those old white guys are like, the woman, she does not belong here. Why is she lapping me? Why is she lapping me 5 times? She should not be here at all.
Pretty much.
We are driving the same car.
All right. So Friday.
You
see some racing eventually?
Friday is also practice and now qualies. And we have now moved from the bleachers to our F1 experience, F1experience.com accommodations. And F1 Experience controls a lot of that stuff. In fact, now they are starting to make things available here in Las Vegas. Ours was located on just outside of turn 1, the Saint corner. And it was in an apartment building. And I actually have a picture of it here. And I'm going to do the share screen. I know, bad podcasting. So you can see, and what's funny is we got this picture from Vicky's relatives who were watching the race on TV because they knew we were there. And Vicky's trying to explain to them. And finally one of them goes, and this is a picture taken from their TV screen. But you see the sign that says Charles Leclerc. we were one floor down, two balconies over to the left of that. So I looked straight down and could see everything. We had to wear earplugs even inside the place because F1 cars sound like jet fighters. It was utterly amazing. We got there before everything started, and it was clearly someone's apartment. They had locked the bedroom, but they had a full catering staff, and there was fantastic European coffee available on demand. There was Heineken, who is a primary sponsor of of Formula One racing. So that's everywhere.
Yeah.
The one thing they
it
actually
is.
didn't have is Red Bull, which okay, I'll accept that. In fact, Monster was for sale everywhere. But
So
that's what we had
much
too.
Monster.
So,
So
you
I
know.
I drank so many. I was like, I don't even like Monster, but I was like, they're giving away for free. I'll take two. So that's what I we had so much Monster.
Yeah, and I probably would have done the same thing, but the coffee was fantastic,
Oh,
and it
be
was just like, oh,
duh.
un café, s'il vous plaît, and they would be like,
Uh-huh.
so you want a coffee, and your French is terrible. Got it, thank you, and they would bring me a coffee. It was great.
Yeah.
And as I think I mentioned before, on practice day, a lot of people showed up. So we had there was a pair of sisters who go to one formula race a year somewhere. They pick a random spot. They're both from Miami, and they were there. There was some business partner. One guy lives in Miami, the other lives in Washington, D.C. They meet up a couple times a year to go to some Formula One races. And then we had a lovely young couple from Switzerland, a family from Kansas, because the mom and dad would swap out with that experience, and the other one would sit in the stands, and they had their son with them, who's very interested in automobile racing. And then like 7 couples from Mexico, older couples. So it was a very Checo friendly.
Sounds
So
like it.
that's really
area,
why he
yes.
was waving to you, not because of you. It's because you
We
had
had 3 Mexican flags hanging from our balcony. And like the first guy kind of comes up and he looks at us like, I'm doing this. You can just deal with it. But he was great. And he had a good sense of humor. And I was wearing some Mercedes item, I think, at the time, and he gives me a hairy eyeball, and I went, Checo, and he's like, yeah, muy bien. And I'm like, all right, good, thumbs up. And then like the other Mexican people, so we had so many Mexican flags on our balcony, and this is the great joy of Checo. Everyone likes Checo. Even
Right?
Verstappen fans like Checo, Hamilton fans like Checo, everybody likes Checo. So even if
True.
he's not your favorite, they're like, Checo, good guy.
Excellent.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So yeah, Friday we watched the drivers parade, the practice, everything on there. And I think they had the sprint quali race that they do now. Porsche Cup had a version of that.
Oh, okay.
And and then yeah, so that was our Friday. And that night, Vicky and I elected to skip the dinner that the family was having because we wanted to walk the track. I have multiple videos. Ideally, I'm going to sit down and edit these, and you will get the E1R view of the racetrack at Monaco because we walked the
Someday.
entirety of it. Okay, yeah. My foot was killing me at the end of
I'm sure it was.
it.
But
As we
only there once, got to do it.
Yeah,
Suck
Right.
it up.
Let's go.
Buttercup.
yeah. And that's like, I'm telling myself, like, my limp was really bad towards the end of it. And Vicky kept saying, are you okay? And it's like, once you do this once, that's,
Uh-huh.
I
So
don't
you're
care if
gonna
they
keep
hack this-
walking.
Yeah. How'd you lose your leg? Walking at Monaco. Okay. That's a
Oh,
pretty good story.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we walked the entirety of it. And as we rounded corner 15 and 16, you're walking through the track, and all of a sudden then there's like, they've got security people there with the handheld metal detectors, and they're checking you. And it was a party, the likes of which you've only seen in movies about crazy raves in Europe. 4 different DJs, 6-foot tall drag queens. It was just stunning and amazing. And we texted the pictures to my brother and his family, and they canceled dinner reservations for the next night because we had to experience this. And we ended up doing that again. I'm jumping ahead to Saturday, but yes, if you go to one of these races, wander around the track because there is crazy stuff happening all the time.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, so after you raved Friday night, Saturday,
Yes. Saturday. So Saturday we're still trying to figure all this out, but we're now my brother and his entourage, they have their accommodations, which is somebody else's apartment at the entrance to turn one. So, and they are one floor off of it. So we actually would zoom in and send pictures and wave at each other. So they were there,
Wow.
and they had taken our warning to with about the earplugs and everything like that, and brought that with them. And we were all moving a little slow because we'd been drinking a little,
Oh.
the previous nights. And so you can't have Uber inside Monaco, but you can't have taxi. So we took we're coming home at many hours late into the evening. Actually it was Friday. We could not get a taxi to come get us. So we had to climb the stairs, and
Wow.
it took us 2 hours.
Sobered you up a little bit, I bet.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes. And like one of the ladies with us, she's literally just trying to flag anybody down, scooters, anybody. I will give you money.
Yeah.
We were so tired of stairs the next
I'm
morning.
sure.
My glutes absolutely felt every bit of it. It was, and we were making jokes about that. My brother and his wife got lost and showed up at the house like 30 minutes after all of that. And just to be wise asses, burst into the house and screamed, "We want liquor," to wake everybody up. It was, rather amusing,
I'm
but
sure.
totally worth it. But the other interesting thing that happened on Saturday is starting in Nice, and then also starting and all around Monaco, the bus stops all have the moving. They're not digital. It's actually just printed signs that scroll on 2 sheets of paper, and stop automatically. Every one of them had Verstappen wearing a tag heuer Monaco, as they are a sponsor of the series. But Saturday, I noticed that finally, I'm waiting for the picture to come up. There it is. My boy Checo started getting some respect, and all of the bus stop signs with the advertising the newest tag heuer Monaco finally started showing Checo Perez. And my computer is deciding this is a perfect time to not respond. So I'm not going to be able to show that one.
Well, at least your
Okay.
recording audio is still working, so we can continue having the podcast. We don't need the picture as much.
Exactly.
Good.
So they finally started showing that. An interesting trend that we had noticed also was on the boats that are backed up to the harbor. As soon as the track goes hot, they all have to be 20 feet off the edge of the track. So there's a giant band of water in case something goes off. And then at the end of the day, they all back up, but they don't even let the water taxis through when they're doing this.
Huh.
So it's
Didn't really notice that from the video.
Even
from
more
the...
reason I want to see how the harbor master figures all this stuff out. Like,
yes,
just,
he gets
talk
paid.
about an interesting job.
Right. One time a year, it's really interesting. This is a view from our accommodations. And
Amazing.
that was definitely our Friday practice.
They're directly below you right there. That's great.
Yeah, I wanted to get that picture of that car. The day prior, this picture here is Vicky and I as we were walking down. So this is right in front of the train station, nowhere near the course. But if you look down past the railing, you can start seeing the harbor and all of that. So that was just the gorgeous, place to look at things right there. And anyway, so yeah, they're just to give you a sense. And I do have a picture of the gentleman, le driver gentleman, who short-circuited the entirety of the Friday practice, just because
you're just trying to shame him on our little podcast.
A little bit,
you crashed
and
Porsche number 10.
Exactly. And I'm, mostly because out of just pure jealousy. Yeah, I'm comfortable admitting that one, because you get to do this and I don't. And I could see why you would do it. And then this is another great shot of just the accommodations that we had, because it's a full-time catered staff there. that is, hopefully this works because
And it's just in somebody's
share
apartment
option.
that they rent out for stuff like this, which I'm sure pays for
The
significant
rest of the
portion
time.
their
Yeah.
stuff for the
So there it
year.
is. There's,
Right, yeah.
the, we show up, there's croissants. They served us lunch. They also served us, like a late dinner. So there's the cafe, the earplugs, croissant, all of that. It was,
Fantastic.
Awesome.
All right. Saturday night, you guys went out to the party again, like you said.
and
So
yeah,
that's great.
and it was nuts. We ended up walking the entirety of the course again.
Oh yeah.
Because my brother wanted to see the boats. And
Oh, and you didn't go out the first night, but now you're like, this was so cool. And now
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I should go.
yeah, I want to go look at boats.
Yeah.
And of course there's alcohol everywhere and this one there. This particular boat, if you guys can see this on there, it's the Lamouche. And I made sure to text that one to Eric Rude. I'm like, Jay Lamb owns a boat. Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
2 M's. That's great. All right.
The Lamb douche wagon. Yeah. So that
So
was
now
just
it's
funny. to
race
me.
day.
It is friggin' race day. And we had been getting up later and later because we've been staying up later and later. And, I had threatened everyone with desertion. I don't care. This guy is leaving at this time. So at 7:00, I'm walking down to catch everything that is happening on race day because everything is so much more. We knew it'd be more crowded. We knew there'd be more people
So
wandering
much
around.
more crowded.
So much more crowded on race day, but I didn't
Yeah.
regret it. And that was the day that we're like, oh yeah, we got to get everybody their shirts. I still haven't mailed Jeff his. It's sitting on my thing, but that's why I was texting you guys and all right, what size? And
Yep.
there was just and the whole city, they understand this is their time to shine. It's a festival. They've got bands, they've got everything going on. We got down there early. We wandered around. We got to check out some of the city. We saw and just enjoyed everything that there was to enjoy. Because if you're going to go to another country, for God's sakes, take in some of it. And there's my boy.
Yep.
Rocking my
Checo with
watch.
his tag Monaco. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
So when I have 15 spare $1,000 to spend on a watch, it's going to be the Checo version of that
Of course. All right. So Sunday, how was obviously we know how the race went. How was it spectating from your location and through all the support races and whatnot? All go well?
It was fantastic. It's Monaco. We knew there'd be no passing. And when Verstappen got the pole, and I'm going to go back because I remembered a story. The closing minutes, and I don't know how much of this trickled back, the closing minutes of the qualifying, the final qualifying session on the track with enough space between them is Charles Leclerc, the only local, the only Monacan that is racing, followed by Fernando Alonso, followed by Max Verstappen. And they are on the track. It's finally dried out. It's been raining on and off all weekend. Leclerc comes across the line in P1. The crowd goes insane, and you can hear it over the roar of the engines. The theory is Alonso heard it too, and he mad at it. And Alonso comes across the line in P1. A completely different segment of the crowd goes insane. Verstappen hears this, mats it, crosses the line in P1, and a few people cheered.
Yeah. I still like our idea of fan poll voting
Yes.
for start the session. That'd be great.
Because it would encourage you not to be a jerk. Although, with that video that I saw last week and some of the other stuff that's been coming out, and I think maybe because he's spending all his time hanging out with Ricardo, we're starting to see a lighter side of Max. And I'm not a fan, but I'm appreciating the effort. Yeah, he's still a dick, but yeah, but that. So that was the
Cool.
race. And that night we had every night actually, because it was the entirety of this was for my brother's good friend and business partner. It was for his 50th birthday, and he is a foodie. And this all involved, so every night was usually a tasting menu for dinner.
My
and
favorite.
it was just 4 hours of the chef coming out and explaining, why they made all these wonderful foods.
Sign me up. It's my favorite.
Yeah. Vicky, not a fan,
Oh.
Vicky. She likes her, and she wasn't the only one, but I was all about all these tasting menus, especially anything with the seafood. I was having the time of my life on a lot of these. And that night, we had signed up for dinner at the Parisian, which is the topest, the hotel at the top of the race course, right across from the casino. And it is an amazing view. And we were eating on the rooftop, but we actually, this time, the crowd revolt against some of the tasting menus had come out. So they elected to give us the option. And I went with the tasting menu, and everyone else got like just amazing food. And
I would have gone with the tasting menu again. You get
me.
to try everything that way. And the chef is putting like
Yes.
special effort into it. And
Yeah. It's
so
like
I
the
had, I
best
literally had
little
pigeon.
things.
I had pigeon breast.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
yeah.
friggin' awesome. I loved
But
it. Very tasty.
that's the fun thing, is you're just like, I really didn't like that. But then there's 85 more dishes coming, and you just only need to eat a little bit. And then you're like, well,
and you don't
that was
feel like,
okay.
oh, I'm gonna waste all this. No,
Right.
you're gonna friggin'
you're not committing to something in a
absolutely-
random place you've never been to. No.
Yes.
Yep.
Tasting menu
And,
is the way to go.
yeah.
All right.
So
any-
that was what we did that night. And after that dinner, everyone was tired except for Vicky, me, and Captain Hook. And I'm leading into the next question, so you can go ahead and ask that question.
Yeah. So like, what are the tips for anyone else attending? Really, it's either F1 or Monaco in particular. What'd you learn? What's the consumer advice here?
Okay. The actual city of Monaco, where everybody lives, my brother said, I was expecting everything to be new and shiny like Dubai. It's not. It's been there forever. But even more so, the original part of the city, the medieval part, the little fortress up on there, it looks similar to a lot of places in Europe, but it is wholly unique and beautiful. One of Monaco's earliest kind of credits to the world is they've all been explorers. So a lot of your initial Antarctic expeditions funded by Monaco, and they have a museum to the various sea explorers that have been there. You can also go inside the church where Princess Grace was married and became Princess Grace. Vicky said that was the most beautiful church she's ever seen, and she's seen a lot, including the only other principality in the world, Vatican City. They also took a tour of the Royal Palace, and we took the tour of the Seafaring Museum and wandered around the medieval, which is up on the hill opposite of the racetrack. And we were actually watching them tear part of the racetrack down that night. But it was
they
a
get right
beautiful
to it.
view. They
Yes, they do.
100% do. And but it's worth wandering up there. And there are just these little tiny closet sized cafes tucked into various nooks and crannies. We had lunch at a little pizza place. It is amazing. And the other thing that we talked about, of course, Monaco is famous for the casino. If you've ever seen any James Bond movie ever. And I do have a picture of the casino here.
Now, can you now use the phrase, remember that time I was playing Baccarat at Monte Carlo in conversation?
Yes, we did not actually go to the Baccarat tables, but you have to pay to get in. It's not much. And then they turn around and give it to you in a credit. So, ironically, we went to the James Bond slot machine and won.
Oh, good.
So we took that money that we won, and Vicky is not one for this. You guys know Vicky, we love her. She's a beer girl. So Captain Hook and I naturally had to get martinis there at the casino in Monte Carlo. And that's the picture of us there. And what's even funnier is you walk up, you order martinis. They don't ask you shaken or stirred. You're getting it shaken, because why are you there drinking a martini if you're going to get it shaken, not stirred? And in digging this picture up, I knew I wanted to get this picture. This is a take from the party that we saw Friday night. That's the 6-foot drag queen.
Excellent.
wearing heels. This is her partner. Later
Yep, they
that
look
night,
like a great pair.
yeah. Later that night, my brother's wife actually saw Colin McGregor, the Irish MMA fighter, who's notorious for just. And this is right in the center of turn 15. If you go back and check our Instagram, people were riding on the curb, so naturally I had to draw the E1R logo on the curb. I don't know if they cleaned it off or painted it the next day, but yeah, we did all that because everybody was putting "I love so and so" or putting their name or date on there, and there was that. So that was the race. So if you go to Monaco, do not shy away from the museums. Do not shy away from the casinos. Bring lots of money, but everything that you're going to spend the money on is worth it, especially the food. And do the tasting menu.
Fantastic.
Do the tasting menu.
And everywhere is except using plastic. You don't have to convert to local currency for much. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. And yeah. Although sometimes we did. It was interesting is a lot of the temporary stands with just the wireless connected on the credit cards. Sometimes it would work on one card and then not work on the other. And it was
really
so random. Just so friggin' random. And normally when you're traveling overseas, you get kind of antsy about, oh God, is this card going to get stolen and used by somebody on there? This is Monaco. They are the center of, banking and tax evasion.
They don't need your card.
Yeah. They're not screw. Well, and then that kind of stuff makes like proper bond level criminals nervous. And, so there's none of that there. You don't worry about crime. You don't worry about getting mugged. You don't worry about any of that stuff. You just wander around. It's beautiful and safe and pretty. And a few times we did see the Monaco police force, which is known for their professionalism. And they would be escorting bigwigs around, that kind of stuff. The smallest Monaco police officer I saw was 5'11". They apparently have a very good gym at the Monaco Police Department and an excellent tailor on top of that too. Cause they, they were polite and wonderful,
surprised.
but yeah, not at all. They were wonderful. They were polite, but every one of them had the air of, I'm smiling, but the minute I stop, you're going to end up in the bottom of the harbor. We even had to ask them for directions once or twice. And they were, they're like, oh, I apologize. My English isn't that good. But what you're going to do is proceed forward up this road to the right and then catch the train station right there.
You're like, nope, it's fine. Come over anytime.
Exactly.
You'll fit in fine.
Actually, you'll fit in terribly because you speak really good English and everyone will know you're a foreigner. So yeah, you're not going to be able to go there and do it on a budget, spend the money, get the F1 experience up in the booth. But if you don't, and you're sitting in the stands, there's all kinds of food underneath it, all of that right there. And it's, even their street vendor food is fantastic because they don't do preservatives and a lot of that kind of stuff. Most of that stuff was made, 45 minutes ago over in France and brought over on a bus or something.
That's
awesome.
Excellent. Sounds like you had a wonderful time. That's great.
Yes.
I know. I thought it was
and if we
great to
missed
hear
anything, if you were one of the people that caught me at the track going, I want to know everything about it, and I missed something, please email us. I'll do my best to answer.
Sure. Fantastic. All right.
Well, thanks for the story.
Thank you for letting this be a mental centric show.
No, we have all different kinds over the years.
Yeah.
Don't worry. All right, let's keep moving on.
Ready? Okay. We're doing
Just the tip.
And I'm sorry to disappoint you again, but you're getting just the tip with me, not with Chrissy.
Oh,
I know.
It's okay.
No, this is a good one though. So, again, Adam from the Mofo company, and he has a cautionary tale. He was, he's got a build, and during the build, he was actually using a piece of wood to keep their newly built firewall off their exhaust until everything got formed and fitted. And as Adam himself said, quote, "We disassembled the doghouse in my friend's fab shop 20 miles up the road. When we wrapped yesterday, I drove home. Might have been a bit hoonish. And who has been driving their race car on the street hasn't succumbed to that temptation?" Like, cause you guys get yours. Don't you run it up the street to get it inspected?
Oh, we don't expect it anymore, but we test it. Like if we change something, totally just drive around the street and see what happens. That's why it's registered and insured, but not inspected.
Yeah.
The lack of windows and seat belts is really the problem.
Okay. All right. So Adam continues. About 5 miles from my place, I got a really strong aroma of smoldering, burning oak. And when I rolled up to the last stoplight before my house, the cockpit filled with the perfect BBQ pit smoke. I panicked for a moment because I had not yet installed the fire suppression system and did not have a fire extinguisher. I made the decision to break every traffic rule to get home, which happily worked out. And from Adam, just the tip, if you're going to drive your hoopty ass race car on the street, carry a fire extinguisher. And once again, I'm going to commit the horrible visual sin of sharing this because he pulled out the block of wood and to show us what was going on. And you could, that looks like it came out of a campfire.
Oh, it has a deep black char, and like it's got basically coals forming. Like that had been on fire for a considerable period of time. Well and truly on fire, not just a little smoke. Now that was
but
roasting
the answer,
marshmallows.
the answer to how on fire was very.
Yeah.
Enough.
And not just briefly either.
Yeah, not just briefly. All right. So again, just a tip. It's a good idea. Fire extinguishers are cheap. You can get those little, like tiny little handheld ones for like 10, 15 bucks, kicking around. They're actually starting to make their way into the dollar stores when they close out or upgrade, or just go by Home Depot, Lowe's.
They're only slightly out of pressure. It's okay.
But have them hanging around your shop, your garage, your work area. They're cheap. Have it in your hand. If you're starting an engine after any kind of extensive work, or you've got any system on or around anything that generates heat or carries fuel, have a buddy. Because if you're in the car and you're trying to get out in a hurry while the thing's going on there, you want somebody who can put out the fire. I met a crew in Gingerman whose race car actually ignited, burned down their entire shop. And that took all of his tools, a sweet track prepped BMW 3 Series diesel that he had done all of the M suspension components on it. And he was fine. His house was fine. And most importantly, his family was fine. But that's a legitimately traumatic experience. And as we always do say, fire is bad. So don't burn up. Don't die.
Yeah. Just looking right now on Amazon, you can get a ABC red fire extinguisher, just a basic home model, $20 on Amazon, shipped.
Spend the $100, put them everywhere, have them everywhere.
Yep. Like I got an extra one for our trailer because I saw one on sale at Home Depot for even less than that. Stuck it right inside the door because my old one I used to mount above the door, so it was out of the way a bit and wouldn't get bumped. But Curtis made a good point of, if you need to run into the trailer to get a fire extinguisher, have it accessible right inside the door without having to take any steps or do anything, just grab and go. So I got another one to put right outside the door. Never have to reach in. Chrissy.
Something we need to talk about here is also know how to use a fire extinguisher.
Ooh.
Because I was talking to somebody about a fire extinguisher in the last couple of days, and they were like, yeah, if there's a fire, I'm just going to go that other way. And they were like, if I needed to use it, I probably should know how to do it. So we talk about it at work every once in a while, but every once in a while, somebody misses how you're supposed to use that. So remember the word pass. Pull the pin, aim at the fire, spray, shoot it,
Sweep.
Put the sweep. That's the other one.
Not after the fire. Like, and they say sweep. It's at a back and forth motion. Yeah. At the base of the fire. Mm-hmm.
At the base. Thank you. This is a group effort. So yes. So make sure that you know how to use it too. Just saying. Not everybody knows it.
Yeah. If you've got one that's kind of coming to its expiration date, start a fire. It's fun. Put it out, reignite it, put it again. You know, if you've got if you get like in the early
like in
90s,
a safe way.
No, and absolutely. And I say, don't set your house on fire.
Fire.
Everyone,
don't, and not like next year propane tank or like don't set a fire. Like this is a terrible idea.
No, in a safe, controlled way, I think it's a great idea to practice a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
I can tell you a way not to set up a fire extinguisher in the trunk of your Fiero.
I can confirm that. Do not do that.
In my 20s, part of my military training, we actually got fire extinguisher usage training in a large paved lot. They had a very small, like a garbage can lid that they would put just enough gasoline and they had a remote ignition system, so they wouldn't have to like, reach over there, and you could do it with a match or like a lit cigarette and throw it in there and get it on there. And it was very good also for showing the improper ways of using a fire extinguisher, how you can knock the fire into something else if you come from the top of it. So we all literally got a chance to come at the fire, sweep at the bottom, and put out the fire. And I've carried that with me. It's worthwhile training, and knowing how to do that is going to reduce some of the panic factor if your actual race car is on fire. We tell the story all the time about Chris being in the Datsun truck when he pulled in, and our newly cleaned out carburetor was now dumping raw gas onto the header. And I politely, as sternly as I could, said, Chrissy, have Chris get out of the truck right now, please. And, I heard three clicks.
Right now.
I heard three clicks, and Chris landed on his toes because we practiced this a bunch. And there was a sense of urgency, but not panic, because panic leads to bad things. So yeah, if you can duplicate that, or heck, if your local fire department is giving one of those classes, take it.
These are all great ideas. We went from burning wood to these are good life. These are good. Just the tips. This is great.
And if we missed any of them, any of our fire safety tips, let us know. Get a hold of us.
I'm sure we did.
Yep.
This is in blue, but somebody else talk about it.
Chrissy, go. I got to do this.
Okay, what are we talking about next week? Is that what you want me to talk about? Why am I saying what we are? Because we're going to talk about the Alaska Rally. It's going to be another mental-centric road show we've got going for you. Maybe we'll have some pictures because there were a lot of them. Maybe we'll have them queued this time. We'll tell you about some demise of some cars, which you probably already heard of because it was all over the internet. I could not go anywhere on the internet without understanding everything that was happening in Alaska. Probably because I have 10 friends that were on said rally. So I was getting everybody's updates. But since it just happened, we'll also feature probably some of your listener feedback because there was a lot of it. Mm-hmm. So that's when you'll hear about it. We'll talk all about the Alaska
and if
Rally.
You were on the Alaska Rally, send us your stories. We Gentleman Dave Mills set a new standard, even by Gentleman Dave standards, of how to rally. It was impressive. So hopefully we'll have some stories from the other teams that were out there. And you're going to want to listen because it's never going to happen again. The Lemons Rally is never going back to Alaska.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You burned that bridge. Oh, well. Well, hey, thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even that guy who paid a check for the Porsche in Monaco. Now, if you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. Totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even that guy in the Porsche, give us a rating and tell us why you hate it. We probably know, but hey, try it anyway. Hey, if you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us everyone.racers@gmail.com. Still text us at 484-243-0455. That's a great way to tell Mental, I've got a story for you, sir. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook under Everyone Racers, or even Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again. And until next time, keep your Porsche out of the wall. Unless there is no wall, then just keep it out of the harbor.